The truth is that an infinite number of games are released on Android. Developers realize that games make good money, so they keep releasing titles until one of them blows up, like I Am Bird for example. Because of that, it's really hard to find a new game that's actually worth playing, but luckily you clicked on this video. I'm going to show you 15 new offline games that are truly worth your time, so drop a like and come with me. Let's start with a game that ended up releasing on pretty much every platform and almost no one noticed that it also launched on Android. Let's talk about Planet Cube, Edge. Play as Edge, a cube-headed laboratory technician who lives inside an underwater scientific complex. The place is suddenly invaded by a mysterious alien force. While everyone else runs away, Edge decides to grab his weapons and face the invaders to save his world. The game focuses on fast and precise movement. The main mechanics revolve around frantic action, a very high level of challenge, and bosses that require perfect timing to defeat. Despite its retro style, the animations are extremely smooth, which really helps with the precision needed for jumps. And that also explains why the game didn't do well on Android. It looks like an old school game. I've been waiting for this game to come out on Android. After all, if we have Limbo, why wouldn't we have this one? Let's talk about Planet of Lana. The game was originally released for PC and consoles in 2023, but the big news is that it finally arrived on Android and iOS in December 2025. You control Lana, a young girl who lives on a beautiful paradise-like planet that is suddenly invaded by a cold and mysterious army of machines. After her sister is captured, Lana sets out on a rescue mission. Along the way, she meets Mui, a small and adorable black creature, and the two form an inseparable bond. I mentioned Limbo at the beginning because this game really reminded me of it. The gameplay feels very similar, but what truly sets it apart is the story. It's a short game around 4 to 5 hours, perfect for anyone looking for a deep and memorable experience without needing to invest dozens of hours. I honestly thought this game was made by the same developers as The Walking Zombie 2, but it turns out it's actually just a competitor. Let's talk about Outbreak Dead City. You take on the role of a survivor in a devastated metropolis. The main objective isn't just killing zombies though, but exploring abandoned locations to find scarce supplies, complete specific objectives, and of course survive the process. You really need to manage your ammo and healing items carefully. You can't just spray bullets everywhere. There are different types of infected. Some of them are armored in the torso, which means you'll need to aim for the legs or arms to be effective. What really sets this game apart from The Walking Zombie 2 is its difficulty. It delivers a much tougher challenge than usual, and that makes the experience far more interesting. Open the door. A short story goes in the opposite direction, no zombie killing and no over-the-top combat, but instead a strong story to experience. And now let's talk about it. The game doesn't have a complex narrative with long dialogues. Instead, it focuses on a short and symbolic journey about life. The objective is simple. Lamutol's walk through dreamlike worlds and open doors to move forward. Each door leads to a new scenario that represents different phases or emotions. This is a game made to relax with no pressure at all. That doesn't mean it lacks depth, though it features some interesting puzzles and several NPC stories that can be surprisingly emotional. Just like the name says, it's a short story that you can finish it in about 20 to 40 minutes. Last Time I Saw You is one of the most recent and charming additions to the mobile catalog. At first glance, it might look like one of those dating simulation games, but it goes far beyond that. Let's talk about it. You take on the role of Ayumi, a 12-year-old boy who lives in a quiet rural town in Japan. Ayumi's life begins to change when he starts having recurring dreams about a mysterious girl. After a typhoon hits the town, the line between the real world and the spiritual world slowly begins to fade, and unlike traditional dating sim stories, here you can explore the town and a haunted forest from a side-scrolling perspective. Ayumi uses a baseball bat to defend himself against dark spirits, but the combat is simple and clearly not the main focus of the game. That's why I say this game goes far beyond a simple Japanese dating simulation story. It's been a long time since I've played a game in this style, but it's great to see that Android also has room for more complex experiences. Let's talk about Islanders Mobile. Unlike SimCity, you don't need to worry about traffic, taxes, or pollution. The game works more like a puzzle. You start with a small set of buildings. By reaching a minimum score, you unlock new structures, and eventually you can travel to a new procedurally generated island. If you run out of buildings and fail to reach the required score, the run is over. The challenge is all about planning where to place each piece to maximize your points. But what really stands out in this game is, without a doubt, the sandbox mode, where you can build freely with no piece limits just for fun. That game that feels almost like an infinite roguelike or even a Diablo style experience with endless loot hunting. Let's talk about a very little known game called IRRUPT. The game is built around the classic RPG loop. Enter a dungeon, defeat hordes of enemies, collect treasures, and use that loot to become stronger and take on even tougher dungeons. The loot system is the heart of the game. It promises an almost infinite amount of weapons and unique equipment with different stats, allowing you to customize your warrior to focus on raw damage, speed, or defense. The game isn't the best when it comes to graphics or combat, but it has its own charm, especially because it proudly labels itself as hardcore, meaning the difficulty can spike at any moment. A roguelike that's still in early access on Android. You can clearly tell it's not fully finished yet, but I decided to bring it here anyway. Let's talk about Godslayer. From my experience, this game is heavily inspired by Hades, and that's exactly why it's already really good. Right now, there's only one playable character, but you can already tell that more are coming. The game also doesn't have a detailed story. It's pure, unfiltered, insane roguelike action. Combat is without a doubt the main highlight. Honestly, I could keep killing enemies in this game for 3 hours straight if you let me. Every level you gain, you evolve and improve your character, choosing some kind of upgrade like better weapon effects or improved defense. This might actually be a kind of Hades mobile, but we'll need to wait for future updates. Even so, the game already looks beautiful. And this game is a full course meal for anyone who misses the classic zombies mode from the old Call of Duty games. Even the name feels very similar. Let's talk about Dead on Duty. Unlike Outbreak Dead City, which goes for a darker and more realistic tone, Dead on Duty is 100% focused on arcade-style round-based survival action. The game doesn't have a linear campaign or a complex story. The goal is purely to survive as long as possible against infinite hordes of the undead. As the rounds progress, zombies become faster, tougher, and far more numerous. If you've ever played the zombies mode from Activision's Call of Duty series, you'll feel right at home instantly. It recreates almost all the classic mechanics like wall weapons, the mystery weapon box, and even repairing barriers to control the zombie flow. I honestly don't know if I find this game beautiful or way too ugly. Maybe it sits right on that strange, uncanny line. Let's talk about dark fantasy. Unlike most mobile RPGs that use a top-down isometric view, this game puts you directly inside the character's eyes. It's a medieval exploration and combat experience set in a decaying world, somewhat reminiscent of the atmosphere found in games like Skyrim or Elden Ring, but adapted to a mobile scale and entirely in pixel art, which makes everything feel even more insane. The game offers a vast kingdom filled with ruined castles, haunted forests, and deep dungeons, along with an open world packed with multiple quests to choose from. The focus is on melee combat and magic. Because it's played in first person, every sword swing and shield block feels heavier and more personal. I'd say this game is a truly unique and different experience. Cat Quest 3 is the most recent entry in the acclaimed action RPG franchise, and I honestly found this game very different. I didn't even know it existed. Let's talk about it. I didn't play the previous entries, but I do know that our character is on a quest to find the legendary North Star treasure. The map is vast and you can explore it both on foot and by sailing. That's one of the most interesting parts of the game. You have your own ship. You can freely navigate the map and use the ship's cannons to sink enemy fleets or destroy defenses on islands. Surprisingly, combat is the game's strongest point. And on top of that, Cat Quest 3 really shines in local co-op, allowing you and a friend to play together on the same screen. Released in early 2025 by Gameloft, this game blends the nostalgia of classic educational titles with modern spy-themed gameplay. And of course, we're talking about CARMEN SANDIEGO. Need to collect clues, crack codes, and hack systems to outsmart agents from a villainous organization. The game takes you to iconic locations like Rio de Janeiro, Tokyo, Cairo, and Paris, all presented with beautiful visuals inspired by the style of the CARMEN SANDIEGO animated series on Netflix. There are two main ways to access the game on mobile. One is the paid version published by Gameloft, as we've already mentioned here, but there's also a version available through Netflix. The experience is purely focused on geographical deduction. You travel around the world, interrogate witnesses, and piece together clues about the criminal's characteristics in order to issue arrest warrants. A game with a completely bizarre story. You control a chicken that after a radioactive accident lost the ability to lay normal eggs and started laying bombs instead. Let's talk about Bomb Chicken. The biggest curiosity about Bomb Chicken is that your chicken can't jump. To reach higher places or get past obstacles, you need to use your bombs. The mechanic is very intuitive and easy to understand. Bombs are used to blow up enemies, destroy walls, and activate switches. You need to be quick. The bombs explode after a few seconds, so you have to decide fast whether to jump off the stack or kick it toward an enemy. The game takes place inside a sinister fast food factory called BFC, where you must escape and uncover the dark secrets behind chicken production. And honestly, this game is way better than it looks. It's a game that tries to bring back the golden age of arcade racing games, and honestly, I absolutely love this style of racing. Let's talk about Asphalt Champion. the controls are simplified to work perfectly on mobile. Your car accelerates automatically or with a single tap, and your main focus is drifting. The game rewards you with nitro every time you manage to keep a long drift without hitting the barriers. Customization is one of the game's biggest pillars. It doesn't focus only on real licensed cars, but also on models inspired by automotive culture icons. You can change paint jobs, apply decals, swap wheels, and even add neon lights. Races are fast and dynamic with almost no time to think, and the most impressive part is that the game is fully offline yet still offers quick races against other players. The matchmaking system is surprisingly fast. Let's wrap up this list with an old school RPG that many people completely missed when it launched. Let's talk about ASTIAR RPG. Unlike RPGs that are split into small isolated stages, ASTIAR offers a continuous map. You can climb mountains, swim across rivers, and discover hidden temples. The game strongly rewards curiosity, hiding chests and secrets in hard to reach places. Combat requires you to learn enemy patterns, dodge at the right time, the classic dodge mechanic, and use skill combos to break boss defenses. One really great thing is that the game itself clearly states that it has no forced ads. Microtransactions are purely cosmetic, and all cosmetics can be obtained just by playing for free. That said, old school RPGs are definitely niche, so it's not easy to find people who truly connect with this kind of game. And that's it for today's list. If you're tired of the same recycled mobile games, these titles prove that Android still has incredible experiences waiting to be discovered, and I'll see you in the next video.